Hi, my name is Jeff Epstein, and I'm a student of monetary theory. I've written a few articles on it, and I'm a student of the Federal Job Guarantee and UBI. I wrote an article on that and did a radio interview on that. I'm from just east of Pennsylvania, just east of Philly in New Jersey, next to Cherry Hill. I also have a podcast called People Conversations by Citizens Media TV, and 2 weeks ago, I interviewed my friend Peter Jacob. Peter and I were both Bernie delegates at the 2016 DNC, and Peter is running for the second time for Congress in New Jersey's 7th District. He's our revolution endorsed, just as Democrats endorsed, brand new Congress endorsed. I asked Peter what are his sources. One of the questions I asked Peter were, what are his sources of truth? And one of the things that he told me, one of his sources, is your podcast, Best of the Left. So I listened to your podcast for the first time, and the first episode that I listened to was Federal Job Guarantee versus UBI, and almost all of it was great, almost all of it. I heard Stephanie Kelton, I heard Pavlina Cherneva, and those are two of the most prominent MMT voices, and I really look up to them. And almost all of the podcast was interesting and insightful, and I agreed with it. And then I heard the segments by the podcast The Weeds by Vox. And these segments really made me upset, and not because I disagree with them, but because they are so easily refuted. They really think the federal job guarantee is bad. And the only things I can think about these people are that they're either good faith actors who genuinely misunderstand the federal job guarantee, or maybe they're bad faith actors who are paid to misunderstand the federal job guarantee. I don't know, and I don't care. My problem isn't with their points of view. My problem isn't, even if they're totally smearing the federal job guarantee, that's fine. If that's their job or that's what they really want to do, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is hearing these views on a podcast called The Best of the Left, side by side with Stephanie Kelton and Pavlina Cherneva and all these wonderful segments that I heard, as if they're equally valid information. So there's a lot of problems that I have with it, but I just want to focus on three things. So I'm going to give three quotes that I heard, and I'm going to tell why they bother me. So quote number one from The Weeds by Vox, quote, "Federal job guarantee sounds very exciting and big and this huge program that does appeal to some polling. But there are other roads to accomplishing similar things that might work a little better but sound a lot less sexy policy-wise." And then they take that and they compare it to, quote, for the healthcare industry, quote, "all-payer rate setting, which is price controls for the private insurance industry," which sounds very boring. And then they compare that to single-payer universal healthcare, which, quote, sounds big and exciting and disruptive. So all these important economists, Stephanie Kelton, Pavlina Cherneva, Fidel Kaboub, Randy Ray, Warren Mosler, Bill Mitchell, they all think that federal job guarantee is the best and most elegant solution to involuntary unemployment. But the people on this podcast, according to them, they don't want the federal job guarantee because it's the best and most elegant solution. They want it because of the shallow and selfish reasons that it's big and exciting and disruptive and sexy. And I think that's disgusting to write them off so simply. Quote number two, quote, "I don't know if people want to send their children to a child care center of last resort, knowing that this person has a guaranteed job at some level." Someone responds, quote, "Is a child care center of last resort also a job care center for ex-cons?" And then they laugh. Another response, quote, "I've been touring child care facilities lately, and I don't think I would go to that one." And then later, a related quote, quote, "If I took an employer of last resort job in some Green Corps, and on the first day they told me that I had to install some solar panels in some houses, I would break a lot of those solar panels." So, according to them, the federal job guarantee provides no training, no filtering, no discretion of who should be allowed into what jobs, and no ability to fire people if they perform poorly, do something abusive, don't show up. because these are so-called guaranteed jobs. So is installing solar panels on roofs appropriate for the federal job guarantee? I don't know. But to say that training is not part of the federal job guarantee is plainly untrue. And to suggest that ex-convicts will be running daycare centers is absurd. And to say that if they were running daycare centers, that they somehow couldn't be fired is, to be really generous, an enormous misunderstanding. The federal job guarantee does not compete with all of private industry. It is specifically designed to create a floor of wages and benefits and treatment. The only thing that private industry has to do is to attract workers is to be better than the minimum. You don't enter the job guarantee to get consistent raises and promotions. Some might choose to stay there, but probably a lot more will want to go back to the private sector, and that is the point of the federal job guarantee. Again, I don't begrudge the people at the Weeds podcast from Vox for their strong disagreements or their flat out smears, if that's what they happen to be. That's their job, that's their passion, whatever it is, that's their decision. I don't have a problem with that. But it is hard for me to understand how side by side with these great segments and these great figures that a podcast called The Best of the Left is validating and promoting this trash. Thanks.